Hello, hello.
To all the people that's watching. Happy New Year to you. Hope the new year has started off great and prosperous and abundance and all that great stuff. How about you?
Absolutely.
How I know about the family stuff, but what else is going on in the new year for you?
Oh my goodness. I think New Year's bring new thoughts, which we'll talk about when we talk about your book.
The book.
Um, the book that we've all been eagerly anticipating, waiting for. But yeah, New Year brings new thoughts. I think a renewed energy, a fresh perspective. So I'm just really looking forward to, starting my podcast, tossing around a couple names for that. But hopefully plan to roll that out by my birthday, which is February 7th. So in a few weeks,
Okay.
looking forward to doing that. And my daughter has been on me to turn a childhood kind of story that I told them. You know how you tell your kids stories to help them get to sleep at night. So
Mhm.
I came up with this story about a set of twins, sister and brother, who ended up moving over to Europe with their parents.
Okay.
And my daughter is like, you need to make that into a book. She actually, for her senior project, took it and kind of made this whole like diorama out of wood.
Okay. Okay.
So I thought that was really cool. So that is the other project that I'll be working on. So more to come
Yeah.
on that, but my goal is to turn that into a children's book.
Okay. Good. 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 I
Yeah.
like.
Yep, yep, yep.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So that's what's happening on my end. And how are things with you? I mean, real estate, you are doing it all. I
Real
mean,
estate is doing good.
you saving
You know,
lives there down
the
in Atlanta,
customers
keeping
going
everybody
on.
safe.
Firefighting is doing good.
Okay.
Hell, I show you something
Hmm.
in a little bit.
Hmm.
Just to show you something else that that me and Michael are doing together.
Okay.
Um, and everything right now is going good. We're just getting into the new year. Trying to stay consistent with some of the routines that I've decided to pick up for the new year, as
Hmm.
far as for my real estate business and for my personal life. And
Hmm.
it's always for me, because my birthday is right at the new year.
Hmm.
It's always a good thing. I can always
Now, when is your birthday? Is it this month?
yeah, January 11th. So
Okay, coming up
yeah,
next week.
so
Okay.
always then for me, when I do something for the new year, I
Hmm.
know that right around the corner is my birthday, and so
Hmm.
it's really is a new year for me.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. Let me see something. If you can see, let me see. I was gonna share this with you real quick.
Okay.
Um, hold on.
And when you brought up real estate, so I want to come back to that. It's one of our topics tonight. I do want to talk a little
All
bit
right.
about
So
that.
can you see that?
I can. It says a manifested collaboration 10 years in the making.
19 years in the making.
Is it 19? See, I don't have my
19 years in
glasses
the making.
on.
Yeah.
See?
So that's an EP that me and Michael are coming
Oh,
out with.
okay. Oh my gosh, look at
Um,
that legacy.
so Michael came to me a little bit last year and said, "Hey, I got a handful of beats I'm gonna make for you, and I want you
Okay.
to rap on them and put out an EP." So
Wow.
almost done doing the last finishing touches on it, but that's the actual
The artwork.
the artwork for it. So I got the artwork up on my page, on my Instagram page.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one other thing that we got going.
You know what? I love that. Let me just say that, to see that with you and Michael, I love that. The father son
Yeah,
collaboration. I
yeah,
mean, it's a very powerful image to see the two of you, a father and a son, together. doing something that you both love.
Hmm.
Um, it's just it's a powerful image to see the two of you together on that album cover. And I'm sure just to be able to listen to the music and the message in the music, about the love and the passion that you guys share for the art. um I'm sure it's going to be a great blessing to many.
Yeah, I think as I've been working on it, I was like, this might, it might be one of my better
Mhm.
projects. Uh, I thought my last project was probably the
Mhm.
best stuff that I had ever done because I did the majority of the beats on that project,
Mhm.
and Michael made a beat on that project, and one of his homeboys made a beat on that project for me too.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the rest of it, I think it's it's I can't remember. It's 13, 14 songs on that last project.
Oh wow, that's a
And
lot.
so I did 12 and he did two. I can't remember exactly how many songs on that last project.
Mhm.
But it's called Informe, which
Mhm.
is Swahili for king.
Right.
And it is on all streaming services, so you can be downloaded or streamed on all streaming services. So, but this one will be the same way. It'll be able to be downloaded, streamed on all streaming services when it come out. And yeah, I don't know if that's gonna be the last project I do because I'm so busy with everything else. But I've been it took me a minute to start really getting into it. He
Mhm.
gave me the beats and I loved them, but I just
Mhm.
had to sit
Right.
down and
Takes a
make sure,
minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and get into a creative vibe. And once I got
Mhm.
into the creative vibe, in the middle of all that, I was still writing, trying to edit and
Mhm.
do, look at the edits that you had done for me for Think Success.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I still was editing, then still working, still real estating, still. So you still,
Well, you know what? I think that's the definition for, the new term multi hyphenate.
yeah, yeah,
When they're talking about folks that are, wearing many hats, but basically just allowing their creative flow to take them, into different places and different spaces with different people. So I think that's awesome. I mean, I
yeah,
think you do a really great job of harnessing your energy, but also just going with the flow of where it takes you, whether it's doing a project with your son, whether it's you know um having a really good pulse on what's happening with real estate, um writing the book. You are doing, I mean, you are actually, like I said, doing those things successfully that many people dream of doing.
yeah.
And I know
I
we'll talk,
appreciate that.
again, more about that when we get into the conversation about the book. But
Well, we can
yeah,
start
we
talking about
gotta.
it now. I got the book here.
Okay,
Think Success.
so hold that up for us to see. Think
This
success.
is definitely this is the not for resale book.
Right, right.
115 pages.
Okay.
Uh 115 pages. It's
Mm-hmm.
about 11 chapters. Also, I have a bonus chapter at the back where I kind of give some
Mm-hmm.
extra tips on different things people can do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is definitely a book that's been in the making for a long time. Um,
What was your motivation to write this book? I mean,
okay,
there's,
so um,
let's start with that. What was your motivation to write this book, and the title, Think Success?
okay, so let's go back. At least I would say at least about 10 years ago. Let's go back about 10 years ago. I
Mm-hmm.
had this idea for another book, which I'm in the process of writing now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept writing little stuff with the book
Mm-hmm.
and stopping, writing a little bit with the book, then stopping.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think with this book, what ended up happening was I felt as though I was sitting around. I can't even remember what exactly I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
but it just came to me. Think success.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't, think success. Make sure that you're thinking success. And be
Think
before
that
what we thought.
you had gone through like some phase of your life that you were in? Had you read something that
It wasn't.
kind
I
of
don't
put you
know. I
on
can't
that
even tell you.
mindset?
It was. I can't even tell you what had that mindset. Like I said, it was like write think success before you write the other book.
Okay.
Um, and so and so that's what I had. That's what I said in my spirit was to write think success before I wrote the
Okay.
other book. Because I felt think success would be. Sorry about that. Got the
No.
fire trucks riding by. Um, my brothers in the other county is doing their work.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think that think success for me, I knew that this book needed to be first when I got the idea for
Okay.
it. It set in my spirit that it needed to be first, and I think this was because Wealthy Thoughts is more of a book about, yes, it's gonna still talk about thoughts, it's gonna still give you some of the ideas from Think Success,
Mhm.
but with that book, I'm going more into showing ways to
Mhm.
make money, showing ways to take what you're doing and build wealth with it. Um,
Mhm.
Whereas this book was more about mindset, think
Mhm.
success,
Mhm.
changing your mindset, um, and changing that mindset, and then taking action on those changes.
Okay.
I just believe that everything is supposed to be, action based.
Got
There's
it.
I just feel like a goal dream, it's wasted
Mhm.
if we don't have action with it. It's just a wasted goal or dream. You can
Mhm.
have all types of goals, but if you're not taking action, I know a lot of people uh,
Mhm.
tend to think that you can just go and pray your way through everything, and you can't. You can pray, but it's got to be some action with that prayer. You gotta pray for what's the next steps to take.
So is Think Success more about um kind of giving folks step by step guidance on how to achieve their goals, or is it about how to kind of surpass that and attain just kind of a higher level as far as wealth or influence or um
So
whatever it is that they would define as success?
So I believe that for me, think success is more about mindset.
Okay.
So yes, eventually you're gonna hit your goals. Yes, eventually, if you consistently hitting your goals and you stay consistent with that,
Mhm.
eventually you're gonna get to wealth and you're
Mhm.
gonna make money. But for me, think success was more about before you can hit a goal, before you can consistently hit a goal, because people hit goals all the time. But
Mhm.
before you consistently can hit a goal, you
Mhm.
gotta start off with your thinking on being consistent with hitting goals. And
Okay.
what happens with a lot of people is we'll hit a goal, but once we hit that goal, we won't stay consistent because our mind is
Mhm.
still stuck in some of those things that I like to call stinking thinking,
Mhm. Mhm.
which is it basically in the first chapter of the book where I
Mhm.
talk about destroying stinking thinking and its
Mhm.
number of different ways that we think that
Mhm.
keeps us from obtaining the goals that we're trying to obtain.
Mhm.
And so for me, think success is more about changing mindset. It's nothing to me. There's nothing higher than that.
So
Um,
define mindset for folks who are, tuning in, watching. What does that mean when you say a person's mindset?
okay, so when I say a person's mindset, where let's talk about positive mindset. Basically, let's talk about that. I don't really the negative mindset. Most people pretty much know what that is. Let's talk about
Mhm.
a positive mindset, though. Let's talk about when we're talking about mindset. We're talking
Mhm.
about where are you thinking most times of the day?
Mhm.
When you're walking, are you thinking in lack or are you thinking in abundance?
Mm.
When you're walking, Are you thinking in I can't do this, or are you thinking how can I get this done?
Mm.
Um, and so to me, mindset is about where is your mind set? Where does your mind sit
Mm.
in a certain situation? Does your mind sit on the positive side, or
Mhm.
does it sit on the negative side? And how do we get, if it is sitting on the negative side, how do we get it to the positive side, or
Yeah. So
the neutral
yeah,
side?
and
So,
that's and that was going to be my next question. How do you make that shift? You know, you
so,
talk in your book
mhm,
about stinking thinking,
yeah.
as you say. You reference that in chapter one of your book. You talk
Hmm.
quite a bit about in explaining what it is, different components of stinking thinking. How do you
Yes.
make the shift?
The shift to me is made. I think in the book I give about 10 different stinking thinkings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I I also in the book, as the book goes along, I give a
Mm-hmm.
number of ways to change that stinking thinking, and in a number of
Mm-hmm.
ways to adjust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's different. So what works for me may not work for you.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do is I tried to give a
Mm-hmm.
number of different ways that you could actually work yourself through it. I can tell you that for me, once I decide something, a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of willpower. So if
Mm-hmm.
I say that I don't want to eat pork, for instance,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and I decide not to eat pork, I'm not going to eat it. I'm
Mm.
not saying that I won't have temptation. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that when we at work and somebody is cooking that good bacon and it's smelling good, that it
Mm-hmm.
won't tempt me, because I'm not necessarily Muslim, and I'm not a person that
Mm-hmm.
all my life I didn't eat pork. So it smells good. I know that it tastes good to me. It does tempt me, but once I make a decision, I
Mm-hmm.
steer clear of it. And everybody's not that way. So there has to be, you have to figure out what works for you. For some people,
Mm-hmm.
they have to stay clear of it totally. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
may have to just not even go in the kitchen when
Just
that,
not strong enough.
you know what I'm saying? For some people
Right.
they just can't, they can't be around it. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And then for other people, um, it may be okay, I
Mm-hmm.
can be around it, but they may have to be saying a mantra in their head or something to
Mm-hmm.
make them not go and get that plate. And then for some people like me, once I make the decision, I just won't eat. I could be around it and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and I'll look at it and be like, that looks good, and I'll keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and that doesn't, all three of them, it just based on who you are as a person, and there's some things that I know I can't just be around, and I have to go the other route and say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I just can't even be around it.
So when we talk about the stinking thinking,
Mm-hmm.
that was very fascinating to me to read about
Mm-hmm.
that when I was editing the book. And so you give basically 10 different types of stinking thinking.
Yes.
You talk about the blame game.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about the mentality of you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yep.
You
Yep.
talk about the Carrie syndrome. They're all going
Yes.
to laugh at you.
Yeah.
Talk about
I think that's one that bothered me a lot growing up, and probably into my adulthood. I think sometimes I look at my music career and
hmm
think that's part of
hmm
what kept me from um doing the things that I probably could have done in the music
hmm
arena.
you talk about number four, I can't be helped.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm perfect the way that I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Success and money are not everything. It's
Mm-hmm.
not worth it. And
Yeah.
then number 10 that you talked about was and I'm circling back. I don't
I don't
want to
want to
turn
turn to
into
somebody
something
I
I
hate.
hate.
Yeah.
So out of those 10, what would you say are the top two or three that people more frequently struggle or deal with? I know you talked about yourself and your struggle with the Carrie syndrome, and basically,
What if I told you that I think everybody hits one of those at some
mhm.
point in their life?
Okay.
Unless they're raised a certain way, I
Mhm.
think some people, if they're raised
Mhm.
with wealth already, or they're raised around people that have always
Mhm.
been able to, um, that have
Mhm.
a strict regimen, I
Mhm.
think we hit some of those. I think everyone hits
Mhm.
some of those at some point in their life. I think everyone hits probably all of those at some point in their life.
Mhm.
Like I said, a wealthy person might not hit the one where
Mhm.
I feel like I may not, I feel like I'm gonna turn to somebody I don't like because they
Mhm.
already
Or components of
like
each.
to have
I can
wealth.
see that. Mhm.
So they already know what it is to have wealth. So that part probably don't
Mhm.
bother them as much. But I can tell you that I watched a film called the 1%. It was
Mm.
and the film was done by I want to say one of the Kellogg's kids.
Mhm.
If it wasn't the Kellogg's kids, I can't remember.
Mhm.
I thought it was one of the Kellogg's. I could be wrong. Maybe it was one of the Heinz
Mhm.
kids.
Mhm.
Might have been one of the Heinz kids. So
Mhm.
and he was in the and he was asking questions, but you could
Mhm.
tell that he felt bad for having the money that he had.
Mm.
And he felt bad that
Mhm.
he saw people that weren't able to do certain things, and he had
Mhm.
all the money he had. His family had all the money that they had. And
Mhm.
so that's something that I really didn't talk about in the book.
Mhm.
Probably because again, that's something that I haven't dealt with in my life. But I guess in many ways that is kind of like turning to somebody that I won't like, or turn to
Mm.
somebody that I hate, because somewhere in his head he already was in a situation where he was someone that he hated because of the money, because
Okay.
of the success that his family had and the wealth that his family had. Um,
Okay. So when
and
you talk about the 1%, you're talking about that the 2006 documentary about the wealth gap between the
yes,
wealthy
yes,
elite and
yeah,
everybody. Okay.
very good book. I mean, very
Johnson
good.
and Johnson.
Johnson and
Jamie.
Johnson. That's who it
Yep.
was. Okay,
Jamie
Johnson.
Johnson and Nick Curzon.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So he
Okay.
he 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 went and asked many of the people that that his family knew and everything about it.
Mhm.
A lot of them
Mhm.
didn't even want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even want to talk to him
Mhm.
about the stuff. But
Mhm.
somewhere in there, he was turning to someone that he hated. It seemed like.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so maybe he did. Maybe it's a different. Because again, I don't have the type of wealth that they have.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's kind of hard to see it from that point of view.
Got you.
I again, what people don't, when you write a book, you're going to write it from the point of view of where you're at.
Mhm.
In many ways, as I was writing this book,
Mhm.
I was dealing with still dealing with some things myself,
Mhm. Mhm.
and sometimes still dealing with things,
Mhm.
and trying to fix that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I said, I just thought that was really fascinating when you talked about, the stinking thinking, and just to your point, are there certain components of stinking thinking that people more typically struggle with than others? But then also,
I'll put
once
it
you
to you. I do
Mhm.
think that procrastination, the "I'll do it tomorrow," I think that may be one of the biggest ones that you may see.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, the "I'll do it tomorrow." I think I use the
Mhm.
analogy of Rocky
Yep.
3 when Creed
Absolutely.
told
Yep.
Apollo. I mean, when Apollo Creed told Stallone,
Mhm.
there is no tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? He said,
Mhm.
"Hey, I'll do it tomorrow. It'll be all right. I'll do it tomorrow." He told him there is no tomorrow.
Mhm.
He said he told him, he said that this guy knock you on your ass.
Mhm.
And so in life will knock you
Mhm.
on your ass if you keep waiting for tomorrow.
Mhm.
And so because tomorrow may not come. And
Right?
like that old whining song, tomorrow very well might be the day. So
Well,
so
and I think that you absolutely, and that's why I think this book is very timely.
mhm.
And I think it will also, it's definitely for anybody who is looking to reset their thinking, and really want to focus on um, being their best self, in the new
Yes.
year, and you're looking for, practical application. How can I do that? This book is a really good read. It's not super long. I think it's easy to read, it's easy to understand, but I think most importantly, it's very relatable. And I think that's important. I think people tend to be able to read, but also to stick with things that are relatable to them, that resonate with them. And I think that um, Think Success is a book that will resonate with a lot of folks, and
And,
that they
and
can, definitely pick it up and, like I said, read through it. And, you kind of lay there and mull over it and think about it. And, which of these things do I struggle with? And
mhm,
then just be able to move on to those next chapters that talk about getting it done.
mhm, mhm. And I think the main thing for me is the stinking thinking was good. I liked it. I liked the way that I was able to lay it out.
Mhm.
And it took me a minute for that chapter. I believe that's the longest chapter in the book anyway. Um,
Mhm.
but but it took me a minute to kind of put that chapter together and get it all thought out,
Mhm.
figured out how I
Mhm.
wanted to put it. Um, but the main part for me is the doing. Um, you know, you need to identify where you at. That's no doubt. But I feel that a lot of people, once they identify where they're at, they don't
Mhm.
get to the doing. And I think that's where I'm at with the rest of the book. The rest of the book is ways to get to the doing, um,
Mhm.
ways to change your mindset, ways, systems to go in and figure out how to
Mhm.
change up everything and dominate what it is that you're trying to do.
Mhm.
Um, and then, like I said, in the bonus area, I give some daily tasks. I give
Mhm.
some ways to build self confidence. I talk about the attributes of leadership, um, and I give a way to try to do an annual inventory
Mhm.
of yourself at the end of the year. I definitely have. I adopted that some years ago. Just at the end of the year, I take one day,
Mhm.
maybe if not the full day. It's always been pretty easy for me to take the full day because sometimes, around the holidays, my
Mhm.
kids will go out of town and stuff or go back to Detroit, so I would have the house to myself because I would be
Mhm.
working. And so on my off days, it was easy for me to just take a day and
Mhm.
sit down and try to do an annual inventory of myself and figure out things that I didn't get done the year before, figure out things that I procrastinated on, and try to just get myself ready to do better the next year. Um, and make that next year the best year of my life. So every year I'll try to make it the next best
Mhm.
year of my life. So and so I talk about those different things in the book too, in the bonus chapter. I don't think you got a chance to actually.
I didn't, like I said, the version that I had is missing though. So,
Yeah,
I definitely, got to get that.
yeah. So
But
yeah, I didn't get I it was something that came to me at the very end.
yeah.
You were done with the
Yeah.
editing, and
Yeah.
I literally right before I put it out, I was like, I feel like it needs something else.
Yeah.
And
And
I and
that's
I
and that's
and I
that's listen, you don't ever want to put something out until are 110% feeling like, what, yep, it's good.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think we talked a little bit about that because even during the editing process, when we were talking about the edits, you're like, there's some other things that are coming to mind
Mhm,
that I want to put in here. And so, but one of the really other cool things that I like about this book is that, at a certain point in the book, you say to the reader, you are changing now as you're reading this book.
mhm,
And I just thought that that was so cool because it's an affirmation,
mhm,
in the middle of everything. It's an affirmation, to the person reading this, that you are actually changing. And I think sometimes we question that, again, part of stinking thinking, we question ourselves, we
mhm,
question the validity of do I really have what it takes?
Mm-hmm.
Am I on that path? And you
Yes.
just call it out for them and you say, nope, you are changing right now. Understand that, as you are taking this information in, and what you're taking away from this is helping you to change yourself within, internally. But then you also go on to talk about the external piece,
Yes.
which it sounds like you added more about those externals and what you
Yeah.
can
You.
do.
I'm a total believer in taking action. I don't. I'm a total believer in that. You have to take some sort of action
Mhm.
make that change. And
Mhm.
and to me, when I say you are changing now, the first action
Mhm.
that they're taking is reading the book. Um,
Mhm.
it takes to say I'm going to sit down. A lot of people don't read. I mean,
Mhm.
the average. I want to say they say that the average American only reads uh 1 to 2 books every few years.
Mhm.
So something like that. So the average American don't even read. So the fact that you're sitting down reading a book
Mhm.
means that you even if nothing in that book
Mhm.
is necessarily affecting you, which I
Mhm.
very seriously doubt. But even if
Mhm.
nothing in the book is necessarily affecting you, I can
Mhm.
guarantee that just reading it is changing you because
Mhm.
you're just sitting down there taking the time out to do something
Mhm. Mhm.
to expand your mind. Um, and that was what I kind of meant by that.
Mhm.
I'm one for I don't the graduation date when you go to college
Mhm.
or in whatever the many things that I've graduated from, the many different little programs that I've graduated from over my life. Um,
Mhm.
the graduation date is the culmination of all the successes that you have done and
Mhm.
achieved on the way. That's just the outward saying,
Mhm.
okay, he did it or she
Mhm.
did. But everything that led up to that day that
Mhm.
you sat down and studied all night so you could pass the test, that was a success. Uh,
Mhm.
that the A that you got in the first class or the B that you got in the first class, that was your
Mhm.
success. Your success is you have success all the way up until you graduate. The graduation day is really not a success more
Mhm.
than it is the culmination. It's the outward celebration of all the other this day. It's the outward open celebration of
Mhm.
all the hidden stuff that you had already done.
Mhm.
And so same thing I feel with wealth and money and even this book.
Mhm.
This book it's done. I'm happy that it's done. It's
Mhm.
out. People can go on Amazon and buy it. But the
Mhm.
main thing about that book is that it is the outward physical manifestation of the hidden stuff that I did when nobody watching.
Got it.
Successes I did, the success to sit down for 2 or 3 hours
Mhm.
every day or every other day and write it out. That those are the successes that got to the major. You can see this now, but
Mhm.
the success was me when I sat down and I
Mhm.
wrote the title out, and I sat down and I wrote the first stinking thinking out,
Mhm.
and then I made phone calls to see if I can get it edited by somebody, which you did it for me, and then I made another phone call to
Right.
see if I can get somebody to do a forward for me. After you
Mhm.
gave me that, I didn't even think about a forward. You was like, you need to get somebody to do a forward. So I making that phone call to get somebody to do a forward for
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
Miss Alicia Day, Doctor, I'm sorry, Doctor Alicia Davis, um,
Mhm.
forward for me. So um, just those things,
Mhm.
those are all successes leading up to
Mhm.
the manifestation of it.
Okay.
And so when you see the manifestation, it's because I thought success and I kept thinking success as I kept going. I can't say that as I was writing this book, I didn't have things that came through my head. Even
Mhm.
I'll even lie. I won't even lie to all. They're all gonna laugh at you. The Carrie syndrome. It
Mhm.
came up while I was writing the book. Like no one's gonna read that book. No one's thinking about you. Don't nobody want to hear what you got to say. They all gonna laugh at you.
Mhm.
And that came up while I was writing the book, but I kept writing and I kept fighting it and kept going through it. And that's what people have to think about doing. That's the main thing I wanted to get out in the book is that as you go along, you
Mhm.
got to keep fighting. You got to keep making the mantras. You got to keep saying the affirmations, telling yourself you can do it. And as you're telling yourself you can do it, do it.
Well, just as we were talking, coming on for the show, and you were talking about affirmations the visual affirmations that you had going on in the background
Mhm.
in your TV, and just kind of talking about that. Um, again, I think that, um, like the things you talk about in your book, taking those actions proactively, doing things that will move you forward as you seek to be successful. Those things are critically important. I really also, another standout for me was when you talk about failure and just redefining failure.
Yeah, yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, and just how you define failure.
So I'm not gonna really take credit for that. If you can see behind me, I got this poster up that says Mamba mentality.
Mhm.
So one day I was watching Kobe Bryant, and this
Mhm.
was definitely before he passed away.
Mhm.
But I was and he said he did not believe there was no such thing as failure.
Mm.
And he said the only way I can fail is if I just stop totally.
Mhm.
And when he said that, that resonated with me.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, I don't think I've ever it resonated with me. I just had never really
Thought about it that
articulated
way.
that. I
Mhm.
had never thought it that way, but it resonated with me because that was how I thought. I never really I always used to hate that word failure because
Mhm.
I'm like if I'm still going, if I'm still trying,
Mhm.
if I'm still working towards it, how can I be
Mhm.
a failure?
Mm.
And so my thing is unless you stop, and
Mhm.
there's many people that have stopped. They gave up on dreams, they gave up on goals, so that can be a failure. But my thinking is if you start back, it's no longer a failure.
Mhm.
It's only a failure if you just stop. To me, it's a
Mhm.
setback.
Mhm.
You can make mistakes. You can
Mhm.
have setbacks. You can have obstacles. You can have learning lessons. So
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool when you talked about it being a lesson or learning
yeah,
opportunity.
it's
That
a you
really
can have
resonated
learning.
with me.
You can have those maybe one of those four things.
Mhm.
Because every time most business owners that have
Mhm.
businesses can tell you that the vast majority of people that have tried to start a business, they have tried to start the business 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 times. Um, many businesses go bankrupt and then they come back and try to do
Mhm.
it all over again. And the thing is, they keep
Mhm.
going because they learned something from the first time, and then they may have learned something new from the second time.
Mhm.
They keep going and they keep trying and they keep going and they keep trying. And to me,
Mhm.
that's not failing. That's working towards something. Um, Again, like I said, if you're failing, is because you've
Mhm.
given up. You basically given up. And to me, there's a lot of people walking around
Mhm. Mhm.
that's dead. If you just they're the walking dead. They gave up a long time ago,
Mhm.
and they have not gone on to
Mhm.
do to be the person that they should be.
Mhm.
They don't have, and they're not getting the success that they want because they made a setback, they made
Mhm.
a possible learning lesson, they made an obstacle
Mhm.
into a failure, into something that made them stop.
And you also talk about journaling. Why is
Okay.
journaling important?
First off, just just in my studies over the years, I just believe that writing down anything
Mhm.
is better than typing it. It just gives you it makes it more personal.
Mhm.
And so to me, if you're journaling, it gives you something to go back and look at. If you journaling every day, different things that you got going on, different things that
Mhm.
you see, it gives you something to go back, look at, and say, okay, this is what was going on during this time.
Mhm.
And it's the thing, I don't believe you got to journal every day.
Mhm.
I just believe that you should journal the important
Mhm.
things.
Okay.
I do believe you should journal those days when you the days when you're feeling down and the
Mhm.
days when you get back up. I do feel like when you have an idea, something that could be a multi-million-dollar idea, or something that could just be an idea that
Mhm.
help your kid get a better grade, if you should write that down,
Mhm.
because you never know where that could take you. And a journal is important so that you can have a record of what you did.
Mhm.
Um, if you wanted to stay secret, or whatever, or you got some real dark secret stuff that you want to, get you a journal that you can lock up that can't nobody see, or whatever.
Mhm.
But the thing is I just think that I got journals around here, I got stuff in it,
Mhm.
and I think that, you know,
Mhm.
50 to 60 years from now, when I pass away,
Mhm.
50 to 60 years from now, when I pass away, and
Mhm.
my kids, or their kids, my grandkids,
Mhm.
or maybe even my great grandkids,
Mhm.
they can go
Mhm.
and look at the stuff that I did,
The original documents.
and they can see the journals, and they can say,
Right.
this is how he was feeling.
Mhm.
This was what's going on with him.
Mhm.
These are the things that he tried to do. These are things that he accomplished. Um, and oh wow, it took him this long to accomplish this, or oh wow, it didn't take him that long to accomplish that. He made a decision,
Mhm.
and it happened.
Mhm.
And so these are things that they can go back and look at, and I probably got some dark stuff, or got some personal stuff in some of my. I know I do. I got some personal
Mhm.
stuff in some of my journals that
Mhm.
that I probably wouldn't want nobody to see right now. But
Mhm.
once I'm dead and gone, hopefully it can help them not to make the same mistake or
Mhm.
whatever.
Well, no, like I said, this book I think is gonna change a lot of people's lives. I think it's gonna help people who are stuck. I think it's an important tool and resource. And especially for you being an African American author, being a Black author, and putting this out here um, for everybody, but understanding that, especially in our community, a lot of these struggles,
Mhm.
a lot of hopes and dreams deferred for different reasons. Um, and sometimes people just give up,
Yeah,
like you were saying. um it's not over until you just completely stop, but some people have,
yeah.
and that's the thing, some people have stopped, some people have given up. And so, for people who are watching and they're in that place, I hope that they grab this book. It's not anything that's super expensive, but they can go, on Amazon, they can order it, um and read, and like I said, relate,
Hmm.
and just figure out, where am I in this? And if I just take one action, whether it's journaling, um and just making a decision, I'm not going to do this, or I am going to do this. Just that action to be able to move themselves forward and understand, it's the step after that, and the next action after that, and the next action
Hmm.
after that. To just kind of propel yourself forward into that new place of success where you want to be, but understanding that it comes with your mindset and basically having a made up mind.
Yes, gotta have a made up mind. Gotta know that you wanna succeed,
Hmm.
and that's where it starts at. Just knowing that you want
Hmm.
to succeed.
Hmm.
And then from there, I think the biggest problem, one of the biggest obstacles that we run into, I may not have really went into that in the book, but one of the biggest obstacles we probably run into is knowing that we want to succeed, and but not knowing how to get there.
Right.
And not knowing what steps that can I take to change the way that I'm thinking,
Hmm.
and so that I can get there, because it's funny, as kids, at some point somewhere, I don't know, around maybe 9 or 10,
Hmm.
we start getting to the point where parents, and it's not because it's a necessarily bad thing. It ain't that parents are
Hmm.
trying to destroy their kids, but you start getting to the point where parents starts to say to you, no, you can't do everything.
Mhm.
and you can't do this. And the thing is that
Mhm.
you can do, you know, within means, you can do pretty much anything that you want to do.
Mhm.
Um, you just have to figure out how to do it. I'm talking about legally. You got to figure out how to,
Mhm.
you got to figure out ways to do it. And
Mhm.
that is sometimes the difference between that's the difference between somebody that makes $100 an hour, somebody that makes $15 an hour.
Mhm.
Is the $100 an hour person figured out how to do what it is that they thought they couldn't do,
Mhm.
and the $15 an hour person has some things that they think that they want to do,
Mhm.
but they can't figure out how to do it, and they have
Mhm.
said, "Oh, I can't do that."
Mhm.
You got a lot of
Mhm.
people, like I say in the book, that's, "Oh, I don't need all that money," but I've heard the saying that more money, more problems, and no Biggie and
Mhm.
Puffy had the song, more money,
Mhm.
more problems. But I've never had more money and had more problems.
Yeah, you would love to
I'm
have some mega million problems,
kind of
right?
I'm like, unless you selling drugs or
Yeah,
you
we
doing
love
something
to have
illegal to get
some.
that money, you shouldn't have too many more problems.
Yeah,
You got more
which
responsibilities. You
yeah,
got more things that you are responsible for now.
we want some of those Jay-Z and Beyonce problems.
Yeah,
Which
but I
Breitling
don't
do I
mind having
wear?
things more responsible to be more responsible for.
Yeah.
But it ain't a problem to be more responsible for something. That's being a
Mhm.
grown man or a grown woman.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You
Well,
have anything else you want to talk about?
and so that's why I say, I'm looking at the visuals, they're playing in the background,
Okay.
the affirmations, and one of the things, that I know that you do and that you're very involved in is real estate.
Hmm.
Um there's been a lot of conversation about the housing market. People are wondering whether they should make any moves in 2023, if they should hold off, what types of moves should they be making for people who are looking to hopefully purchase a home this year. What three things would you say they need to be doing right now?
So just a shameless plug. They can go to my other they can go to my other YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
It's the YouTube channel is Randy Graham Realtor.
Okay.
Um, um, I got, like I said, I got another YouTube channel.
Mhm.
I'll in the description, I have a
Mhm.
link, and you can get to that YouTube channel from there.
Okay.
You can also get to the Amazon page to buy the book from there.
Mhm.
You can get to other projects that I have from there also that'll be in that
Mhm.
link.
Mhm.
But if you're looking to buy a house um, in 2023, these
Mhm.
are the first thing I'm gonna tell you. Um, Depending on who you talk to, the mortgage rates may go anywhere from up from it may go be anywhere from 5% to 9%,
Mhm.
depending on who you talk to. That might be the mortgage interest rates.
Mhm.
Um, so the main thing is gonna always be the same thing.
Mhm.
Make sure your credit is good so that you can get the best interest rate possible. Make sure you got some money saved up so that you can have the money for the closing costs and the down payment if necessary. And then your third thing is just make sure that you are not rushing into anything, right? Make sure that you count the costs, do the analysis of the house. Um, as a as a investor, also, when I work with my customers, I try to make sure that they getting some type of equity at the closing table.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is that, let's say if the house, let's say they got the house on the market for 212 or whatever.
Mhm.
Let's say we can get the house down to 205,
Mm.
and then the appraiser go in and appraise it at 214.
Mhm.
Now that person got $9,000 in equity in that house because he buying it at
Mhm.
205, it's appraising at 214.
Mhm.
What happens after that? I have no control over that. I have no control over the market.
Mhm.
You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? But I got you in at
Mhm.
a rate where now you are not underwater.
Mm.
I really don't want any of my um, customers going into a house underwater. Now, if that's what they decide to do, and they tell me that's what they want to do, at the end of the day, I have they're the client, and I have to do
Mhm.
what they want to do. If they tell me, hey, I want to buy this house, and I'm gonna put an extra $50,000 on it because I want that house. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, that's extra money in my pocket. I don't feel comfortable doing it, and I'm gonna let them know
Mhm.
that hey, I don't think this is a good idea. But if that's what
Mhm.
they want to do,
Mhm.
and they say that's what they want, I'll go ahead and do it. But that's not the way I want to do business for the most
Got it.
part.
Got
Um,
it.
so with that being said, going into the next year, make sure that the house that you're getting, make sure you do the due diligence on it. Make sure that you get the best price you can get on it, and ride this wave out with the interest rates, because most likely in the next 2, 3, 4 years you'll be
Mm.
able to refinance at a lower interest rate, if not before that. You know what I'm saying? So I believe some of the people that have been buying over the last like 3 or 4 months, where it's been 6 and 7%, almost 7%,
Mhm.
they may be able to refinance next year at 5%.
Mm.
And those 2 percentage points is a lot.
Mm.
So just looking into next year, it's still gonna be low inventory, because it's still not a lot of houses being built. So it's still
Mhm.
gonna be low inventory. But the good thing is I think it's gonna be a lot of low demand.
Mm.
So low inventory, low demand. You
Mhm.
won't have as many people out here bidding. It won't be the bidding wars, especially
Mhm.
that I know they were having them in Michigan, and
Mhm.
especially that we were having down here in Atlanta.
Right.
Crazy bidding wars. Um, a few clients that I had in the past, just we could not get them into a house because of the bidding wars, and they just got tired, and they didn't want to do it anymore. And I totally understand. I hated that I couldn't, you know,
Mhm.
get with them, get everything done with them the way we needed to get it done.
Mhm.
But it was a learning lesson for me.
Mhm.
And to be honest with you, it's been a real estate on the agent side has been a learning lesson for me for the last
Mhm.
2 years, because I came in
Mhm.
at a time when it was unprecedented. So
Mm.
so it's been a learning lesson for me, but I
Okay.
feel like I've learned a lot in the last 2 years.
Mhm.
And I feel that like I've learned how to grow the business in the last 2 years.
Mhm.
And so being in real estate for 3 years, being an agent for 2 years, I did a couple wholesale and junior and JV
Mhm.
deals,
Mhm.
as when I wasn't an agent, when I was just finding
Mhm.
buyers and helping other
Mhm.
people get properties.
Mhm.
And I've learned a lot. And so I think that going into 2023, like
Mhm.
I'm one. This is my mantra: the best time to buy the house is now.
Mhm.
If not now, the best time to buy the house. Actually, the best time to buy the house was yesterday, and if
Mhm.
not yesterday, if you didn't get it yesterday, the best time to buy the house is now. As long as the deal is right,
Mhm.
it's gonna be the best time to buy it. Because most likely the house is gonna go up at some point.
Yeah, so I know that just kind of some of what I've been reading and hearing is I don't think not the best news. I mean, we know that the economy right now is just not in the best place.
It's not.
Um, the technical term is recession. A lot of economists
Hmm.
seem reluctant right now to say that we are in a recession, although by all of the economic definitions that have existed, and that we know, we are in a recession.
Well,
Um,
it's one of the weirdest recessions that
mhm,
probably has ever been going on, because normally when you're in a recession,
mhm,
normally you have high unemployment rates,
mhm,
and our unemployment rates are not as high
mhm,
as it would normally be
mhm,
for a recession. It's
mhm,
basically where it would normally be at. The unemployment rate is basically
mhm,
normally when you're in a recession, you
mhm,
see especially we just came out of Christmas, you
mhm,
see not a lot of money being spent at Christmas time.
mhm,
And I believe that most of the stores, while they saw a drop
Mm-hmm. And that's what I was gonna
And
say is I
the
do
drop
think.
wasn't the drop wasn't big enough
Mm-hmm.
to call it a
Mm-hmm.
recession.
Yeah.
And so while you're seeing a lot of your stocks are down,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, I'm steady buying stocks because they're gonna go back up. It may be 2-3 years from now, but
Mm-hmm.
by that time when it go back up 2-3 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
a stock that I'm buying, um,
Mm-hmm.
just one of the stocks I'm buying. I'm not gonna name it because I don't want nobody to think I'm giving them no financial tips, and then they
Mm-hmm.
try to come back and sue me. But one of the stocks I'm buying is like at it's at 12. It's historically low,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not just gonna say historical. It's hysterically low. And
Mm.
so I just every check I just buy some more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why every piece of money I get from anything I'm doing, I just buy some more
Mm-hmm.
of it. The reason why, because I
Well,
look
you know when we go to break, I'm like, okay, brothers.
so
But
I'm just
no,
buying
I.
more of it because I know
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
this is a company that if this company goes down, then
Mm-hmm.
just on the real, damn near the world going down. And
Well,
so,
and I would just say too, that's a good tip right
mhm,
there. That if there are stocks, look out there and see which stocks are, at prices that you can afford
yeah,
and seem like a good
there
long-term
there you
investment
go.
and buy those. I
And,
think
and,
that's a
and
very
always buy
that's
stocks
some
that pay
sage
dividends.
advice.
That's the other thing about
Right.
that stock. It pays a dividend. And so I make that dividend comes in, and I put it right
Mhm.
back into the stock.
Mhm.
I don't take the money from it. I put it right back into the stock. I make sure the dividend goes right back to the stock.
Mhm.
So my thing is I know that that's gonna go up.
Mhm.
And the more stocks I buy at this low price,
Mhm.
when it goes up, I'm gonna make money. I could
Mhm.
take that money out. I could take the money that I've made out, and if
Mhm.
it's enough money, or from other stocks that I'm using, I get enough money out of it. Take
Mhm.
that money out, put it into another investment, and for me, it would be another real estate investment.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that to me, that's you have to do what you're comfortable doing, and
Mhm.
that's why I'm saying I'm not telling nobody what the stock is.
Mhm.
Do the research, figure it out.
Mhm.
But I don't want to make people feel like I'm giving them some type of real estate. I mean, not real estate,
Mhm.
financial
But
tip.
yeah,
Even
absolutely.
even with real estate, I'm not giving you a financial tip. I will
Mhm.
tell you that that is, if you can find a property that the comps in the area are selling for more than that property, and you like the property, and if it needs a little bit of work, you're willing to put the work in. That's probably a good buy for you.
Mm.
Do it, get it, put the work in. By the time you put the work in, and the market goes back up or it goes up again, you will be the major money back. And if you want
Mhm.
to sell a house and do something like that,
Mhm.
and take that money and get into a bigger house, or take that money and get into a smaller house and use the rest of the money to start a business or something that you're looking to do. It to me, I am very big on,
Mhm.
um black people historically have bought houses to stay in them for years.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
buy a house, and when they say a 30-year
Mhm.
loan, in their mind, they're gonna stay in that house for 30 years.
Mhm.
And historically, white people don't do that. They buy houses with the thought process: this is an asset. It's my house, but this
Mhm.
is something I may use to
Mhm.
get something bigger later on. And they'll upsize. They'll have more kids and upsize again, and then the
Mhm.
kids will leave and they'll downsize, and they'll have all that money going coming in
Mhm. Mhm.
because they've learned how to use that as an asset. And to me, if you're not finding a way to use the house as an asset, it is a liability. A house can quickly become a liability,
Mhm.
even though it seems like an asset. It can
Mhm.
quickly become one, especially if you get in and you're underwater on the house and stuff like that. That's why
Mhm.
you got to be careful of the real estate
Mhm.
agent you use, and you got to be careful of going off your just straight emotions of, oh, I love this house and I'll do
Mhm.
anything to get in it. You gotta fight that off.
Well, I think that's some really great advice. I know we're at the end of our time, but for the folks that have tuned in and are watching, Um, I definitely think this is great information. The information that you shared just about, stocks and investing, don't overinvest, don't underinvest,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a house or stocks, be wise, be comfortable, don't overextend yourself. Great advice.
Always talk to a financial advisor or a lawyer
Hmm.
or somebody that you trust.
Hmm.
Listen. What I'm saying, I'm never gonna try to lead nobody wrong, but
Hmm.
don't just take my advice for it. Do your own research. And because I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not. But over the years, I have figured out a couple things.
Well, it has been a wonderful conversation. Like I
Yeah, I
said,
appreciate
refreshing.
you.
Great, great for the new
I
year.
guess this was my chance. We'll
Great
try
for
to
the
get,
new year.
huh?
I said great for the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like I said, you have, so many different irons, in the fire. And, for me, as your friend, I've known you, for many years now. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, gosh, it's just hard to keep up with all the different projects that you have going on.
Sometimes I'll be like, dang, I'm doing this. It doesn't, for me, it don't even seem like much.
And that's how it should be. That's how you are in the zone
Yeah.
and that it's flowing, because it does not feel like work. It's
Yeah.
not stressing you out. But you basically, you're getting energy and you're keeping that positive flow of energy going. You're able to share that out with other people.
Hmm.
But it's just a good flow and good recycling, and you vibrating on that level. So,
Hey,
that's awesome.
it's something that I think most people can do.
Mhm.
And again, that was another reason why I wrote this book and will
Mhm.
write the next book, is because
Mhm.
I believe that we
Mhm.
are supposed to live in abundance. I believe that
Absolutely.
everything that we do,
Absolutely.
everything that we do should be done on a high level of excellence.
Mhm.
I think we talked about that a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
about black excellence, and people say, but I just believe everybody, we should be at a high level of excellence,
Mhm.
not to the point where you're stressing yourself out. If you're
Mhm.
stressing yourself out, it's probably something you're not supposed to be doing.
Right.
But I'm not stressed. I mean,
Mhm.
I can say that. Do I get tired? Yeah, I'm a human. Of course I get tired.
Mhm.
And have to take some time to rest. But I
Mhm.
think I know that.
Mhm.
I figured out some things that I said, I put in my to-do list for this year. Make sure I take those times to rest,
Mhm.
and and not worry about it and not feel like, oh, I'm not doing nothing. Because I will get in those modes too, where I'm like, if I'm not
Mhm.
doing nothing, I feel like like what's like I'm supposed to be doing something. Like, oh shoot, what am I doing next? What am I supposed to be doing? So what am I doing with my hands? What are my hands doing? So like I get in those moments, but for the most part,
Lay
um,
off those mushrooms.
yeah, I mean, so you just can what am I supposed to be doing with my hands right now? Like, so
Yeah. No.
but I have, I told my son this, I told Michael this one time. I said, man, I said there was a time I remember when the new Star Wars movies came out, not
Mhm.
the last three, but the middle three, the Anakin Skywalker
The
ones.
Jar Jar Binks.
The first that was supposed to be the first three movies.
Yeah.
So
Got you.
I remember when those movies came out, and Anakin said in one of those movies, he said something's wrong. I'm not the Jedi I'm supposed to be. And that
Mm.
I never forget that shit resonated with me on so many levels. I was like,
Mhm.
something I ain't right. I'm not who I'm supposed to be. Like
Right.
and at that point, and even before that, I probably had started,
Mhm.
but I was just like, at that point, it really became,
Mhm.
I got to be on grind mode. Like,
On the
I am
path.
who
On
I'm
the
supposed to
path
be.
to
And
find
I
out.
have had to start over a couple times.
Mhm.
But the thing is, I never gave up, and I'm not giving up, and I still have setbacks today. And
Mhm.
you had a setback, and you say, okay, we'll keep moving. Let's go. That was a setback. Let's go.
I am, like I said, it's always great, the conversations that we have. I'm looking forward this year, to us having some really cool people on the show, um,
Hmm.
to share their wealth and their wisdom and their knowledge and their resources. So definitely excited about future conversations that we're going to have. For anybody out there who's watching wants to get in touch with me, you can definitely email me at Tracy Brooks, Trayce Brooks at gmail.com. Also on Instagram at Tracy_B. And just look forward to, like I said, more conversation.
Yep, and same here. I will put in the description. I'll put my link so that you can get to all of the things that I have. You can, like I said, Instagram is going to be Randy R Graham. Randy R Graham. I'm on Twitter as the Randy R Graham. Facebook, but like I said, I'll have a link in the description. You can get to all my
That list keeps getting
things.
longer every week. It's gonna be
so,
like
so
rolling
that's why
credits at the end of the
I
show.
just got a digital business card now. That
Oh
link
my
will be
god.
in the it'll be in the description. My
Okay.
number is 404-438-7113. You got any real estate needs that you need to talk about in the metro Atlanta area, or if you just got real estate questions in general all over the country, just give me a call. We talk about it. If I can't get an answer, if I don't know the answer, I'll try to get an answer for you. Real estate investors, same thing. If you want to get in contact with me about anything in Atlanta, again, give me a call or hit the link in the description. And we are out. Wealthy Thoughts today. Wealthy Thoughts was the Think Success show. So Wealthy Thoughts. Don't forget to go pick this book up on Amazon. Peace.
All right.
Shambles, hand over your mantle. When mics and amps is on, I'm the next big thing like Samsung. I'm killing haters like Samsung. I'm more than a handsome face. Don't make haste when I'm in a place and you feel the bass interlaced with a trace of my miracle DNA. I'm raps MMA. I'm body any MC like Rampage. I'm on the 18 when I hit the stage. Yes, I love it when a plan comes together. I love it when two pretty fans come together and put their hands wherever. Ain't that nigga that's on them gospel songs? Yes, it is. Don't get it confused. I'm still one of his. I still give him thanks every time I'm doing my biz. I just got the revelation. Just don't be faking shit. So this is who I'm is. I said that grammatically incorrect on purpose because I'm probably smarter than that nigga with that doctorate. They say I'm obdurate because I don't give a few shits when I do this. And the proof is in the music. They say, how can you talk about God and banging chicks?